So, how much do you guys trust me? I mean, I've been doing these Let's Plays of anime games for a few years now. I like to believe that maybe my opinion holds some weight to it. So, the reason I ask is because this game, boy oh boy, if you weren't around for the anime gaming scene in 2010, you might not believe what I'm about to say. People hated this game, and I'm not even kidding about that. It's the most baffling thing to me in hindsight. So, Raging Blast 2 is, without a doubt, a bit of a nexus point for Dragon Ball games as a whole, especially in this time period. So, running off the heels of the relatively kind of lukewarm Raging Blast 1, it's got great merits, but it's held back enough by some various things that it's kind of lumped into this whole idea of shallow cash-in anime games, like cash grabs. And if I'm upfront with you guys, I would like to be, I think that's a load of shit. I think this is, without a doubt, one of the best Dragon Ball Z games ever released, period. It is top 5 easy. And I know that might sound like hyperbole, given that I've been seeing some very hilarious reviews over on the wiki, but no, I promise you, it really is. So with that, let's begin. What's up, boys? Bob here. Welcome to a new Dragon Ball Z Let's Play, because I don't do these ever, am I right? Alright, so last time we did Storm Generations, but before that, Raging Blast 1. This time, we are getting into the crazy waters. This time, we're getting into Raging Blast 2, which is simultaneously one of my absolute favorite Dragon Ball Z games ever, and also kind of one of the most hated Dragon Ball Z games ever released, period. Yes. Hopefully with what I'm about to convey, I can change people's minds, but no, really, this is a bit of an oddball. So, naturally, if you're keeping up with the timeline of the games being released, we had Tenkaichi, those were relatively well received. Burst Limit was well received. Raging Blast 1 wasn't really too well received. It was like they were like, hey, the graphics are pretty, but like it's kind of shallow and stiff, and people didn't really know how to articulate back then that, yeah, the gameplay kind of sucks. as I have an entire Let's Play over on YouTube. I'd say that like I'm not on YouTube right now. Hi, yes, we just did a whole Let's Play Raging Blast 1. You should go check it out. But Raging Blast 2 also does some bad things, and this starts to leave a bit of a bad impression in people's mouths. In people's mouths? Yeah, let's go with that, sure. So, we're gonna be in for some fun times. By the way, yes, for a quick update, yes, I've been meaning to record for a couple weeks now, but I came down sick and just now getting some stomach issues. It's like my body physically does not want me to touch this game. I don't know why. So, Raging Blast 2 came out originally in 2010, and this is a very 2010. What a hell of a year for anime games. Now, what else came out in 2010? Let me go check my notes really quickly about that. Came out in 2010 for PS3 and 360. Naturally, you can assume this game never received any other ports, period. Your options are PS3 and, well, you know, the magical world of emulation. What can you do about that, folks? Now, for what it's worth, from what I've played so far, this is one of the more stable games on RPCS3. By the way, shout out to RPCS3. We've been using this emulator since Burst Limit and also for Raging Blast 1. Really good emulator. I highly recommend it. It's not too hard to run these days. It's pretty stable. You just gotta find the games for it. That's a trick. Right, the dub. Okay, so like I was alluding to last time, we have now officially entered the Kai era. Now, I have covered another Kai dub game before. Actually, no, wait, 2. Why did I think about that? No, well, 3 actually. So, Tenkaichi Tag Team actually just came out before this game by like a handful of months. I don't remember the exact amount offhand. I'm certain Bob and Post can go ahead and enlighten me on that. Yes, that's me. But we've also already done some other Kai games, one of which was Battle of Z. Yes, I did that game. And also Dragon Ball FighterZ, which, you know, obviously I tackle that game as well. So, last thing before we get in, there's a bit of a interesting history involving Raging Blast 2 that you might not be too familiar with when they start reverting. So, Raging Blast 2, there's effectively 2 different versions of Raging Blast 2. There is the old Yamamoto soundtrack release, and the Pat's version with the BT2 soundtrack. Now, as a disclaimer, I do really like the BT2 soundtrack, but that being said, there is something to say about the original game's soundtrack. It's not too bad. It's honestly pretty decent. Now, we're just going to go ahead and fire the game up. Technical difficulties already. Even my fucking computer doesn't want to run this game for some reason. Okay, so you want a sample of the Yamamoto soundtrack? Well, here it is. Let's unmute the game. That'd be helpful.
Take your chance, be now. To the fight. 宇宙の外れ巨大な荒野で無茶ぶりで歪む大地地響きが轟く闇 Nothing can stop you now 沸騰していくテンションどうもない日が Wake up 乗るかそるかどうもないアクション
Fuck me, that intro was amazing. Okay, I've said on record, I was not a big fan of the opening song or the opening video for Raging Blast 1. This is a completely different beast. That was fucking amazing. So, we're already reaching quality of BT 1 intro. Like, I would say it probably overdoes. Yeah, I would say I like that more than BT 3's intro, and that's ridiculously good. So, let's play Raging Blast 2 is going to be very interesting. I want everyone to know this up front. Now, usually when it comes to doing these games, I do two things. One, I usually try to beat the game first, that way so we can access all the chapters up front and I can show you guys everything all at the same time. And I also try to have a good practice run under my belt beforehand. I did neither of these things. Okay, that's not to say this is a blind run at all, no. That is to say strictly that I want you guys to experience the raw unlock process of what it's like to try to go through this game. Because it's not hard. It's really not that hard. But it's also a little bit tricky at the same time. So needless to say, this is going to be one of my longest Let's Plays to date, but I do believe also it's going to be one of the most fun and involved. So hopefully everyone who wants content out of me, well, yeah, here we go. This has been a very contentious game for me to do for a long time. I've always been on the fence if I wanted to do Raging Blast 2 or not. But honestly, thanks to Twitch, yeah, we're able to actually sit down and do the game all the way through. Now, just so you guys are aware of this fact, every individual character has their own galaxy mode. We'll talk about that more in a minute. So I'm thinking I'm gonna structure it so that way, like, the bigger characters have their own individual videos for their galaxy run modes. Or Galaxy Mode Run, sorry, that was a weird way to say that. But the smaller characters that have, like, literally smaller. The characters that have, like, smaller Galaxy Modes, we're gonna try a bunch of those together. So hopefully, if I'm lucky, we can keep this under 50 parts. I don't make promises, but I'm gonna do my best. Anyway, so we got a couple things to go over. Okay, so this is still a sequel to Raging Blast 1, obviously. So that means we got a lot of holdovers, a lot of the forms are already in the game. Characters, shit like that. Now, I've said this before, Raging Blast 1. If they made a sequel to Raging Blast 2, I firmly believe that they could have had their own Budokai Tenkaichi 3 in the HD era. And I make no hyperbole about that. This game, okay, if you know anything about Raging Blast 1 or if you watch me play through it, you know the game is clunky as shit and Nickelback, what the fuck? Oh god, I actually hear it. God, I can't unhear us now. We'll talk about that too in a little bit, but anyway. There are so many gameplay improvements over Raging Blast 1, it's unfathomable. I've actually written down like a loose outline of all the improvements and it takes up almost a page. Alright, let's just go ahead and go over the obvious ones first. Movement is so much better than it was before. As you can see, there's no like It's not stop start. It's a lot faster, even just like movement out of neutral. You can dash into a hop, so that's pretty cool. You still can't ascend. Okay, you still can't go diagonally though. Like you can't be ascending and dashing at the same time. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. It's still pretty good. This is still not a small. This is not a small bump. This is actually pretty substantial. Next up, there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's new chain cancels. New chain cancel follow-up. Oh yeah, that's right. They also overhauled the combo system a little bit. They essentially introduced this whole follow-up system as opposed to just the chain canceling. So immediately, this is quite a bit better. Let's see. I think one of the obvious ones was this. Yeah. What? My dog already howling at me. I don't even know why. There's a lot of shit improved about this. Now, most smash attacks will actually combo this game. If you remember before, the combo counter wasn't lying. A lot of smash attacks will just not combo into each other. But like, dude, look at this. Everything is comboing here. There's nothing. There's no drops. It all goes through. It's fucking amazing. I know the fighting game operates like a fighting game. I should not be as impressed as I am, but I still fucking am because you do not. If you guys remember Raging Blast 1, it was so clunky and bad. This goes so far to just upgrade everything. Other small things, dashing in melee range is also a little bit better. It's more fast. It's responsive. You can cancel out like sag dashes a little earlier, so that's pretty cool. You can do like backdash into melee attacks. That's really cool. There's just, do we have anything else? Yeah, melee just generally has more speed and range. So like if I'm out here, I'm actually gonna connect. Okay. Do we even talk about Raging Soul yet? That's gonna be a good minute to talk about, but it's whatever. Yeah, just in general, to say that this is like literally a light year of a jump of gameplay going from Raging Blast 1 and 2 would be a massive understatement. Like I've shown you before, like there is depth to Raging Blast 1's combat, but it's so stilted by everything surrounding it that it just was not worth the try whatsoever. This game, that is not true anymore. It's actually fairly funny dynamic. Look at it, that comboed. The hit stun's true. The hit stun is not a lie anymore. I fucking love it. Everything is worth a damn. It's cool. Generally. Hi, what? I think my dog's just excited that I'm actually talking so much. So, I guess one last thing to really go over. Okay, maybe I should address the one thing I don't actually like about this game. Or just like about the game's combat. What? My dog's howling. I hope she doesn't have to go to the bathroom already. Okay, let me just go ahead and show you this really fast. The way you recover is a huge pain in the dick. Let me just have him actually put me into a knockback. Yeah, okay, so as you can see over here, this little icon up here, you no longer rock the control stick in order to recover out of a knockdown in order to recover out of it. No, you have to mash the face buttons, which I don't like that. It's a lot more mashy. It doesn't feel amazing. Like, well, I usually find myself rocking my thumb over the the face buttons like a fucking idiot. It just does not feel good. Sorry, that's just me. I'm just not a huge fan of that. I wish they allowed a toggle for like how you want to recover between analog stick and face buttons. It's not a huge deal. It just feels uncomfortable, and I wish they could have kept the analog stick rotation. Whatever. Anyway, anything else big? Yes, of course there is. Well, as soon as Virginia's done being the fuck out of me. Excuse me, sir. I could just lie here. Nah, I usually just rock it back and forth. I don't like it. It feels like it's more damaging to your controller than rocking the analog stick, but maybe that's just me. So, let's talk about this. First of all, super attacks and ultimates still work essentially how they do before, but now there's a new thing in the system called Raging Soul. Now, if you remember Raging Blast 1, essentially, the max power mode of BT3 was just kind of ditched. Like, where there's a lot of free follow-ups and unique follow-ups and how, like, everything kind of works differently. Now we have something called Raging Soul. So when you reach max power, you can press R1, and suddenly you become a fucking melee demon. Like, I'm just kind of making shit up. Now, it's advertised that there is a huge amount of depth added to your combo list, and truthfully, yeah, there's some insane bullshit you can do in this mode. It's actually kind of fucking sick. That being said, though, I don't know any of the chain systems. In fact, I'll be up front here. One of the big issues of the game still persists. It doesn't tell you where your chain cancels are. So that means you kind of just have to sit there and kind of trial and error your way through pressing square, triangle, circle, or X in order to extend your combos. And, boy, we couldn't have patched that out, did we? Again, if there was more mode, thank you, Alex. If there was one more game added to Raging Blast, I thoroughly fucking believe if you iron out the last remaining issues, you know, face button recovery, no command list, shit like that, you could have literally had like a fairly competitive arena fighter. But we did not get that because I don't think Namco Bandai was willing to risk another loss to their finances in order to fund that. So yeah, it's whatever. So anyway, let's just go ahead and move on. Is there anything that remaining in my thing? No. Okay. I believe I've covered all the major changes. Like I said before, I haven't allowed any unique character combo strings. I'm kind of ad-lib it. My motto with fighting games is that it's more important to learn a game fundamentally first before you start learning death combos. And granted, death combos are fucking cool, don't get me wrong. You know, also maximizing damage off of it every time you can hit your opponent, good. But you do not need to pressure yourself into learning literally every single fucking death string in the game. That's not practical at all. I'm more interested in just showing you the game how to play it. You can consult other people for the death combos. So, let's talk about the story mode. Or lack thereof. This is where things are going to get very interesting. So, Raging Blast 2. This is probably the only... Okay, the wiki was saying this is the only only Dragon Ball Z game to never have a story mode. And the more I rack my brain on it, I think that's right. I honestly don't think there's any other Dragon Ball Z game that does not have a story mode, because like, even Extreme Butoden has one. Taiketsu kind of did. Well, I mean, it had arcade mode routes, and that kind of counts, I suppose, if you want to count that. No, like, literally, this is like the single Dragon Ball Z game to never have a story mode. And, okay, let me say up front, fine, it's whatever, I don't care. There was already a lot of fatigue and people talking back Raging Blast 1 came out that it's fine, they don't want to have to replay the same story mode over and over again. I realized something also before I fired up stream. Yeah, Raging Blast 2 not having a story mode, fine, it's cool. Just make it a fun fucking game, give us game modes, not Wolf on the rest. What? You guys probably heard my dog just howl next to me. You're such a cute girl. But no, it's also very funny because when you think about it, Ultimate Tenkaichi, the game following this directly, actually has not one, but 2 story modes. Wait, that's so fucking funny. It has the actual Dragon Ball Z story to go through, and then it has the character creation story mode. How the fuck did they backpedal that hard? They're like, oh no, people got mad that we didn't have a story mode. Let's make 2 story modes. Your dog likes playing Razzaboo. I don't get it, but okay. You're such a cute dog. Hopefully you don't have to go to the bathroom. Anyway, so Galaxy mode. Let's just go ahead and show off what this is. So Galaxy mode is not a story mode. What Galaxy mode is essentially a group of select battles that with every single character that kind of replicates their story mode a little bit. Raging Blast 2 introduces like unique dialogue between characters if they're fighting each other. Like if Goku fights Vegeta in base forms, no wait. Is Scout Vegeta still a thing? I think Scout Vegeta is still a thing, yeah? Yeah, I'll assume yes. I'm pretty sure it's yes. Beware if they migrate everything. But no. So, if like base Goku and Scout Vegeta fight each other, they'll have like the dialogue between each other when they're fighting in, you know, the canon. With like, you'll never be a Saiyan elite. Or some gay bullshit like that. I'm ad-libbing. So instead, yeah, you basically have like a character unique fights by themselves. Now, someone said higher up in chat, I think it was Brandon, mentioned earlier that Omega2040 said that this game has 490 unique fights in Galaxy mode. And when he crunched that down to how many characters are, actually I did the math wrong. I thought there was 100 characters in this game, but there's only like maybe 60. Let's see, 490 divided by 60, that's about 8 average, I think. Something like that. So, in truth, we're gonna be here for a while. Yeah, you know, hang on, let me just show you the math really quickly. I know math, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 times 4, 64. 65, 66. 66 unique Galaxy mode runs. Yeah, you can see why I did not do a whole practice run of this game, because that would be extreme overkill. So yeah, so instead what we're going to be doing is sort of a kind of a blind run. I'm actually just going to walk you guys through how you usually go through this game regardless. So basically taking each character, going through them, and when there's things we cannot unlock, like we need a certain item to bypass something, we will come back to it later. So this is where the official walkthrough begins, I guess.